For the second time in 2 weeks, the Seahawks held the 49ers to 3 points in Week 18, now meeting for a spot in the conference championship. And Seattle quarterback Sam Darnold expects to play despite an oblique injury.
Feel good. Yeah, obviously, just in routes on air, just kind of felt a little something in my oblique. Just didn't want to push it. Wasn't the day to push it, so that was it. So just came inside, got some rehab, and feel like I'll be ready to go for Saturday.
That was just today that happened?
Yeah.
You ever had anything, oblique issues or anything?
No, never had oblique issues, but it's fun. We'll attack it the next couple days and be ready to go for Saturday.
So Sam Darnold being precautionary there. Back here with CBS Sports NFL writers John Breach, Tyler Sullivan. Sam Darnold expects to play through the injury. And we know Seattle leans on its number one scoring defense, nicknamed the Dark Side, allowing a league low 17 points per game. So, John, what do the Seahawks actually need from Darnold to win this game?
Well, Akeem, they don't need much. If you watched what happened in Week 18, it was almost as if Mike McDonald decided, we're not going to let Sam Darnold lose us this game, because what they did was they ran the ball 39 times. They said, we're just going to run the ball and we're going to play defense, and that's going to be good enough to beat San Francisco. And that formula worked because they won 13-3. And if you look at what Darnold has done in big games or against the 49ers, that is where he has struggled. I mean, you look at the 2 games against San Francisco this year. He was held under 200 passing yards both times. He threw exactly 0 touchdown passes in 2 games against the 49ers. You go back to the playoff game last year, struggled against the Rams, got sacked 9 times. That season finale against the Lions, another ugly game. So every time he's been in a big spot, he struggled. And so I think if you're the Seahawks, you're going to, and now that he's got this injury that he's dealing with, you're going to do as much as possible to kind of take the game out of his hands. He's obviously going to have to make a couple big throws. Your quarterback is touching the ball every play, so he has to do something. But I expect to see rushing attack, Seahawks to go ground heavy, the defense to play well, and that's going to be their recipe to winning this game.
Yeah, Breach, you're exactly right. I mean, that's exactly how they should operate this game. My concern is what happens if this does somehow turn into a tight game and he has to make 1 or 2 throws? What does that look like for Sam Darnold, who, as you referenced, has an iffy history in these types of situations? Yes, he kind of righted some wrongs back in Week 18, fighting for the number 1 seed, getting it, winning the division against these 49ers, doing the opposite of what he was unable to do last year with the Minnesota Vikings against the Detroit Lions. But you remember that playoff game last year. His team only had 9 points. It was not a stellar performance. I still have plenty of questions about what he is going to look like. So there's going to be a point when he has to give them a throw or two. And the fact that he's now dealing with his oblique injury, it does creep in. Whether or not the Seattle Seahawks, yes, defensively, they're extremely sound. But what happens if Sam Darnold does start to see those ghosts and gives the 49ers some advantageous field position? So the intent is raised here as much as they are favored.
Then perhaps your season hinges on Drew Lock. See what I did right there? Hinges, Lock. Dad jokes. We can appreciate that, right? I get a courtesy laugh or no? No. Okay, fine. In Week 18, the Seahawks held the 49ers to 3 points, their fewest points in a game since 2017. Seattle only missed 3 tackles in that game. They only missed 3 tackles in that game, completely shutting down Brock Purdy and the 49ers offense.
I mean, obviously we look at the last game that's most recent, 2 weeks ago, and then you still got to look at, the whole season and, how they played just in general and who they are as a defense and stuff. But obviously Kyle and the coaches do a great job with understanding, where we weren't great, where we were good, and what we can continue to be good at and build on those kind of things. But, they do a good job with that. Like Kyle's done it, year after year, where we've played teams pretty quickly, like a quick turnaround, and has made some pretty good adjustments and stuff. But at the end of the day, too, like you got to go out and execute and play a physical game, man, and execute on third down, stay on the field, and you can draw up all the plays that you want. But at the end of the day, man, it's can I be better than the guy across from me and do it longer?
Quick shout out to Brock Purdy, helped me win my fantasy championship. So thank you to Brock Purdy as he tries to win an actual championship. San Francisco is missing star left tackle Trent Williams in that Week 18 matchup. Played last week. He'll be back in the lineup. Star tight end George Kittle, though, he'll be sorely missed, suffered the torn Achilles last week. Tyler, how do the 49ers overcome the loss of Kittle, and what adjustments must San Francisco make after what happened against Seattle in that Week 18 game?
Well, you touched on it right there. The fact that they're going to have Trent Williams on the left side is massive for the running game because Christian McCaffrey was really quiet in that Week 18 game. I highly doubt that we're going to get back-to-back quiet Christian McCaffrey weeks. But to me, you talk about George Kittle being gone. Obviously, the lifeblood of that passing attack alongside Christian McCaffrey this season when they've both been healthy. But I think the return of Ricky Pearsall potentially for this game is massive. Go back to Week 1 against the Seattle Seahawks. Ricky Pearsall went over 100 yards in that game. Now, Week 1's a long time ago, but you have somebody who is supposedly a linchpin to your offense, former first-round pick, someone you want to be fully involved. He at least had some success going up against that defense, albeit at the beginning of the year. But throughout the season, when they've had Ricky Pearsall, the 49ers have been 8-1. They've averaged 27 points per game. So if they're going to have any sort of semblance of a continuous offense against this stout Seahawks offense or this stout Seahawks defense, they're going to need Pearsall to help move the chains.
Yeah, absolutely. Tyler, and you guys mentioned them both, Trent Williams, Ricky Pearsall. I mean, with Trent Williams, we're talking about a 3-time All-Pro left tackle. That is a huge difference they did not have in Week 18 that they will have this week. I mean, it changes the entire dynamic of what the 49ers can do on offense. Tyler mentioned that Christian McCaffrey is probably going to be able to run the ball better. The holes are going to be a little bit bigger when you're running behind Trent Williams. And if he has rooms to run, we know what Christian McCaffrey can do. He creates yardage after that. He gets downfield, and then he outruns everyone. So I expect him to have a bigger game. And then Tyler mentioned Ricky Pearsall. One reason it's big for him to be coming back, not just the 8-1 record, but if you go back to that Week 18 game against the Seahawks, the 49ers could not stretch the field when they were throwing the ball. They only had one play in the entire game that went for more than 20 yards. You go to last week's playoff game against the Eagles, they had 4 receivers who had at least one catch of 25 yards or more. So Brock Purdy's going to have more time to throw because Trent Williams is there. Ricky Pearsall helps them stretch the field. It just makes the entire offense better when both of those guys are there. So I expect the 49ers to look a lot better on Saturday night than they looked in Week 18.
San Francisco is 4-0 straight up and ATS in its last 4 road games against Seattle. Seahawks are touchdown favorites. Tyler, who's your pick to win straight up?
It's the Seattle Seahawks. It's that defense. I have a little bit of a question about Brock Purdy basically playing with a hand tied behind his back without George Kittle, who we were just talking about. He's 0-5 against top 3 scoring defenses since over the last 5 starts. They're averaging around 15 points per game. He has more interceptions than touchdowns over that stretch as well. So without your star tight end, we'll see what Ricky Pearsall looks like, but I think it's going to be a struggle for Brock Purdy.
Look, guys, I'm going to say it. The 49ers were my preseason prediction to win the Super Bowl. Kyle Shanahan has never lost in the divisional round. Brock Purdy has never lost a game in Seattle. Tyler, I know you mentioned he's 0-5 against number 1 defenses, but he's never lost in Seattle. He's got the most wins in NFL history of any quarterback in Seattle without a loss. He turns it up another notch anytime he goes there. All that being said, I hate myself because I'm picking against the 49ers. I think it's a close game, but I'm taking the Seahawks.
What a setup that was. That was great. That was great. Love it. Seattle, the current favorite to win the Super Bowl at plus 280. Perhaps they'll be playing inside the 49ers home stadium in that Super Bowl. Tyler Sullivan and John Breach here on CBS Sports HQ. Men, thanks. Enjoy the games this weekend. Look, this is Seattle at a 1 seed. They're a 1 seed for the 4th time in team history. Made the Super Bowl in each of the previous 3 times. Should have won 2 of those 3 Super Bowls, but chose to throw the ball at the 1-yard line instead of handing it off to Marshawn Lynch.